Hello guys, and welcome to Ride VIP the Rideshare channel. My name is Serge, and today is Friday, and I decided to work the weekend for Lyft. Currently I'm just working for Lyft, not working for Uber, because to work for Uber I need to have a proper type of car, or I need to rent a Tesla again. So since I don't have a proper car, this is the only option that I have right now. But if I'm considering working full-time, then of course I would rent a Tesla. But currently I'm working just part-time, so this is actually just fine. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is getting any kind of bonuses that Lyft or Uber may offer. So according to the bonuses, that's where my services will be. So currently there is a bonus of $130 for 40 rides on Lyft and $135 bonus on Uber for 60 rides. So with that being said, Lyft is still a better deal. However, I've been hearing a lot of you guys' comments, and they're all over the place, of course, but I'm paying attention and I do appreciate those comments. So please keep those comments coming. Like, what is your situation like with Uber and Lyft? Because I've been hearing, from some of you guys are saying that Lyft is kind of dead right now. Uber is better. Then some of you guys saying that full time you are not able to make a living anymore and you're going into debt. And part time is better to work. So currently that's what I've been seeing, and that's what I've been doing. Just working part time, guys. So when the weekend comes around, I just do the weekend, and not always. I was planning to do the weekend last week. I just ended up working Friday, and then partly I went and I worked Saturday. I noticed I was just making $9 an hour after just working 1 hour, and I quit. So I figured, look, not only did I did not, well, technically I did not even make $9 an hour. I actually probably broke even after fuel. It's not fun to be making $9 to $16 an hour if this is the case, working for Uber and Lyft. Based on what you guys been telling me in the comments, definitely not fun, because I would not be working for that amount. Definitely, and that's gross. Definitely would not be renting a Tesla to do that. That just would be annoyingly cheap. When here in my area, they're offering $22 an hour to work at, basically we have about 10 different plants. So basically you would be working kind of like at a factory. But just a basic position here in Lancaster, it's $22 an hour for first shift and $24 an hour for second shift. So there's actually lots of opportunities for that. So if I was chasing the dollars, then maybe that's where I would go. Plus also, with that could come overtime and also some benefits and whatnot, because we definitely do not get any benefits when working for Uber and Lyft. But we get a lot of benefits that can potentially be beneficial to us just by being flexible with our time and with what kind of work we're doing. So if things are working out for you doing Uber and Lyft, of course you're gonna choose to do that. If not, you could just stop and you could be doing something else. Now, if you're only doing Uber and Lyft, then yeah, your options are kind of limited. And this is why you need to think about what else you could be doing with your time, because sometimes this income could be great and sometimes it's not. And when it's not, it's the most annoying time ever. Then it feels like you could be using your time better off like somewhere else, working for some company. But then you are limited, because now, yes, you're making good income, but now you're just a factory worker, and you're not living your dream. You're just stuck working all day, and I don't know, like I would just feel very miserable because of that. Believe me, guys, I am not lazy, but that is the thing. You don't have to be like with good work work ethic, just making somebody else's dream come true by working for them. Because obviously for them to be paying you what they're paying you, you're making them the money, obviously, and maybe 3 times more, maybe 4 times more, maybe a lot more than that. So it's always going to be a thing with me where I'm chasing my next dream. Like, I'm thinking like what else I could be doing with this time, and I'm not gonna say I'm the best at it. I'm not the worst at it either. Accomplishing what I have accomplished with what I had. Now I have a little bit more, and I could accomplish a lot more. I know that sounds a little bit vague, but when I didn't have nothing, I was able to just take a simple van, make deliveries across the whole country, and then I made some money. I've taken that money, bought some cars. Well, in that case, I just bought some vans. And then when I worked also like as expediter, I bought me some tools so I could service my own van. That way my money goes further. I just save money by not taking my van somewhere else. And on top of that, I bought additional tools and additional cars that I'm able to use for me and my family, and I'm servicing them. That way, again, saving money. And by me driving older cars like this, I'm also saving a lot of taxes, because up to 2008 here in South Carolina, the taxes are very cheap. That's considered like an old car. And here I am driving a 2005 Chrysler 300 Limited. It's still very nice on the inside. I really like this car. It does not feel like an 18-year-old car, soon to be a 19-year-old car. It just doesn't feel like that at all. It's just very nice on the inside, like no cracks in the interior. You know, it's clean, and now it looks nice on the outside for it to match. If I would be chasing like nice cars, I would also have a lot less money left over, and that's one of the hardest things, kind of, to try to ignore sometimes some of the wants, like wanting to buy a brand new Tesla. And yesterday, after being at that event, and I'm not gonna say like the event was like super exciting, because it really wasn't. But seeing that Cybertruck in person, I was like, whoa, it looks so much better and so much cooler in real life than it does in pictures and videos. So if you haven't seen one, you know, like in person and up close, I definitely recommend, you know, stopping by like a Tesla dealership and just taking a look at it, because it just looks amazing. Something about it, you look at it and you're like, whoa, like that's really futuristic. It's really giant. It's got really cool looking tires on it with futuristic wheels. It looks like it needs to be driving on Mars or something, and yet you could be driving it here. And with acceleration 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds, that is like by far the quickest pickup truck out there. Like, it is supercar territory. So I'm thinking, like, in a way, this is not like a pickup truck. This is a super truck. So that's the category I put it in. I'm like thinking, like, it's just so amazing. It just looks like it needs to be in super truck category, if there is one. I know there's like supercar category, but it's definitely in that level. And I'm not just saying that. Like, to compare a Model 3 to that, or even like a Model Y, does not even compare. As a matter of fact, just looking at it, I'm thinking like a Model X, how would that compare? Does not even compare. It's in a class of its own. Probably why it does not even carry any badging of Tesla. It's just a Cybertruck on it. It just looks on another level. It's just looks like something else. So I'm thinking, man, I would want that. Seriously, like, I would really want that more than any other car out there. Like, to me, it's just amazing. And it's very capable as a pickup truck and off-roading SUV, and towing capacity. It just outdoes everything in its class. So that's, to me, like, it's an amazing thing. They definitely did not need to sell me on that idea. As a matter of fact, nobody, you know, when I was at that Tesla event, like, there was like nobody trying to sell you on a Tesla. Like, they're not like walking around and doing that. It was just a cool little deal. Came there, they just had like basically like, you know, some pop and some chips. You know, nothing exciting, but that's really cool that they had that. So you could just have like a little snack, walk around, take, you know, look around and that kind of thing. And of course, when events started, we could just see what Elon Musk, how he was like talking about the delivery of Cybertrucks, and I think he delivered it to some of the customers on stage. It was kind of hard to hear with everything that was going on. It was not like loud enough speakers to really like hear everything, but wasn't able to sometimes really hear exactly like what's going on. What are they talking about? I could just see sort of like almost kind of like Cybertruck commercials, you know, on the screen and everything. But anyways, with that being said, I still do not want to buy one and be that. And that is being very positive about the truck, and at the same time, don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy a Tesla for a payment. I'm even more against buying something in debt now than I ever was. Something would really have to change as my mindset for me to just buy it. I mean, certainly I don't have any other mortgages or car payments. Like, in a way, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I could do that, but why? Like, why would I? What difference would it make in my life for me to drive something new like that? It just would not. And on top of that, it would make me sort of like be in debt. Now I have to work to pay it back. Now I'm worried about how much money I'm actually making versus like me actually liking what I'm doing. Because to me, that's like the most important thing. Life is precious and your time is limited. So why would you spend your life and your time working somewhere just to get that money when it makes you feel miserable? Because eventually you're going to run out of time, run out of your life, and you'll look back and you're like, yeah, I drove the car that I wanted to drive, I lived in the house that I wanted to live in, but did I really even drove that car or lived in a house if you weren't even there to begin with? And I think it's so difficult for a lot of people to grasp that idea, because when you're looking at the brand new car, you're looking at this nice house, you're thinking to yourself like, whoa, wouldn't it be nice to live there? But when in reality, it's kind of like somebody's dangling a carrot in front of you and you're never going to get it. You're not going to be there. You're going to be at work working overtime to pay for that place, but not really being able to enjoy it. And with that being said, I do want to make an example from somebody that I know. He's a good friend of mine that I happened to meet on the road. Of course, what can I say? Nobody asked for my opinion, so I wasn't able to give one at the time. But when somebody buys like a brand new purchase, I think a nice thing to say, congratulations with the purchase, you know. And but you're thinking in your head like, well, I hope you make the right decision for yourself, because certainly this is not the decision that I would make for myself. So therefore, my opinion does not probably even count. But for those of us that haven't made that purchase, I do have this opinion. So my friend purchased a house in Portland, Oregon, out of all places. It's a 2,500 square foot home, right? For $700,000, and it was actually appraised at $780,000. So he got it for like $700,000, and also they ended up paying their closing costs, which I think was like $10,000. So in reality, it's kind of like he saved like $90,000. I guess almost like $100,000 when buying this home, right? But man, there's a lot of buts in this one. Okay. All right. So like let's take this apart. So he sold his home, similar size, 2,500 square foot, for $550,000. So they end up making slightly over $200,000 on the house. That basically, like, that's how much money they got. So they used some of that money to pay off their car loan, which seems like a good idea, and pay off credit cards, and still had close to $200,000, like right at $200,000, right, to give a down payment. So now they're technically not buying a $700,000 house, but instead they're buying a $500,000 house. And here's why this is important. Now, this house, at the percentage rate that they got, slightly over 7%, their payment is $4,600 for a $500,000 loan. When I did the math on it, $4,600 for 30 years, which means 360 months times by 4,600. That is $1,656,000 that they will end up paying for that home. Divided by 3, that means they're paying $552,000 for that house every 10 years. Divided by 10, that means they're paying $55,200 every single year for that home. Which makes me think like, whoa, if you're really so excited about having such a big payment, then why don't you just, for the next 10 years, get yourself an apartment, let's just say at current pricing at $1,400 a month, and work your butt off, excuse my language, for the next 10 years, save up for that house that you want to buy, and just buy it then, paying cash for it. But you know, nobody really wants to do that, right? Not only that they don't want to waste their time, and they want the satisfaction right now, like they want it now, which means you will end up paying for that now. You want it now, you have no patience, you will end up paying for it heavily. What kind of sense does that make to pay $550,000 every 10 years? Like, nobody really thinks about that. But man, thinking about this kind of stuff is like super important, because they just bought 3 houses. 3 houses, right, at $500,000, like I said, and in another house at $150,000. So they bought 3 houses at $500,000, 1 house at $150,000. That's kind of like, to me, that's like a bad decision on so many levels. And my friend was trying to tell me how good of an investment that is, because they saved like almost $100,000 on this house. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good investment for sure, right? If you end up selling it right away and making that money, yeah, good investment. He's like, yeah, we want to live in it for a while. Well, then in that case, what do you think is going to happen next year? Next year, guys, I'm not somebody with a crystal ball, but man, doing all the research like I do, and I'm not talking about doom and gloom, I'm just like listening to all the smart finance guys out there, right? And just seeing like what they're saying, and I'm agreeing with some of that stuff. 2024 could mean a drop in home prices, and it's already happening across the board. Just recently I looked up that same house. What am I saying? That same house in Florida, a mansion, 5,500 square feet, selling for $550,000. 5,500 square feet, guys. It's a foreclosure. So why in the heck I would buy at a market value, because they did end up paying not $500,000 because they had a down payment, but they ended up paying $700,000. It's just because they had a down payment, that's why the house became $500,000. Like, why would you buy a 2,500 square foot house for $700,000, let alone $780,000 what the house is supposed to be worth? It's a brand new house. It just got built, new construction, nice neighborhood, according to what they're saying. But I'm also kind of thinking like, okay, yeah, I understand California, Portland, home prices are very expensive there. You know, of course, like Washington State, home prices are very expensive. Maybe it's a nice neighborhood when homes are 2,500 square foot, but according to North Carolina or like South Carolina, a nice neighborhood would mean the houses over there, you know, like 3,700 square foot and up, not 2,500. And the house barely made it at 2,500. Like, I'm just rounding it off, like barely. I'm just kind of thinking, man, on so many levels, better decisions could have been made. I'm by no means a financial consultant, but just looking at it logically, right? So here you sell a house for $550,000. So you end up making money in your house. Okay, good move. What else are you gonna buy in the market at that same price level? What else are you gonna buy? Yeah, hard decision, because there's not a lot out there unless you decide to move to East Coast. Then you end up buying a bigger house for less money, right? But what the decision that they could have made is taking a profit of $200, probably $50,000 is what they had, right? Forget about the car payment, forget about credit cards. Credit cards is unsecured debt. Your car payment is a car payment, you know. So take that $250,000 and why don't you just buy a piece of land and build a house yourself? You could physically build a house yourself, or you could become a general contractor, and because it is building for yourself, and you hire all the right people to do the job for you. Now you would have all that money in the bank to pay those people, while you over there just renting somewhere at a $1,400 price tag. In about 3 months to 4 months, you're gonna be able to have a nice house for 250 grand. Of course, you're not gonna end up spending a whole 250 grand on it, because you're gonna need some living expenses. But who said you should stop working? Don't stop working. Pay your bills, and on top of that, pay your contractors or whatever, and you would have probably 2,500 square foot house for 200 grand, 250 grand. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm not a builder, but I'm just like somebody that's trying to be a little bit logical on a video that probably has nothing to do with this type of topic. But one thing is for sure, everybody, doesn't matter what kind of job profession you are, you need a house. Okay, everybody needs a home to live in. Okay, that is one. And then everyone needs a car. So that is just a way of life. Okay, but what kind of house you're gonna buy and what kind of car? Okay. And if you think I was done with telling you that story, here's something else that I wanted to tell you. My friend is a truck driver. He works 3 weeks out of the month driving a truck. 3 weeks out of the month. So that means he's only going to be able to live in a house for just 1 week. That's it. 1 week out of the month. So think about it yourself, guys. Think about it. Like let me think about this, okay? $4,600. Divide that by 30. Wait a minute. 4,600 divided by 30. Yeah. $153. Somehow I'm thinking this math is a little bit off. I don't know why I'm thinking like that. No, it's not off. It's correct. I'm just calculating it kind of like a little bit wrong, because my friend lives in a truck for 3 weeks out of the month, and I'm calculating it as if he was staying in a hotel at $150 per night, when in reality he's not even there. So the way I should be calculating it is just a week that he actually gets to stay at his house, which means he would be paying a lot more per night. This is why I could not really agree with my own little calculation here. We just need to take $4,600 and divide it by 7, because that means that is the days he gets to live in his house. So per night, it's costing him $657 a night. Why do I feel like somehow that's wrong? Because that's like so ridiculous. Yeah, that's exactly correct. Like, oh my gosh, $657 a night is what it's costing him to live in his own home, because he only gets to live in it for 1 week out of the month, while you're paying to live there every single day, but you only get to live in it a week out of the time. And if he quits his job, he's not going to be able to afford this house, because he's a truck driver. So where does he live? In the truck. So my thing is, I'm like thinking like, why? Like why would you do that, like, to yourself? It means you have like all your life is in a truck. If you really wanted to live in a nice fancy hotel, then why don't you just take that money and like spend a whole week living in a nice hotel? Like, if that's the case, right? It would not cost you nearly as much, and you could stay all over the country, or get an Airbnb and stay there a week anywhere in the country. You know, it's just, to me, it's just like, you know, like I'm not like, man, and I hope you guys are not thinking I'm trying to say like I'm smarter than like my friend or something, because I'm not trying to put him down, like, but man, like, it's just, this is the decisions that everybody make on so many levels. And I actually already saying this from an experience. My dad bought too much house. He bought a 3,700 square foot house because he was a truck driver. Same deal. Got to live in it 1 week out of the time, and I told him exactly the same thing what I'm telling you guys now. And after living there for 4 years, my dad ended up losing a house to the bank, because he bought a house for $550,000. And yeah, same deal. Beautiful neighborhood. Now, of course, that house is worth a lot more if he could have hung on to it, but all that money is wasted. He was paying $3,700 every single month. But in reality, his house was $550,000. He bought a bank foreclosure. He paid $375,000, and this is why his payment was only $3,700, because he needed to get like 2 mortgages, and I guess, I don't know what the interest rate on those mortgages was, but I'm sure it wasn't that good to have such a big payment. And this was like 2004. So no, 2014, not 2004, 2014. But he bought that house 2007, and he lost it in 2014. This is why I remember those dates. And it's because you remember 2007 was 2007 was when everybody was saying, oh yeah, the economy is not going anywhere, like everything is great. Interesting. I really feel like I don't want to do this. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. But anyways, what was I trying to say here? Well, either way, I forgot what I was gonna say. But because my dad worked for like so hard to pay that expensive house, right? My dad's health declined. The reason he lost it is because he needed to get a heart surgery done, and that kind of like, you know, caused him to lose some time. And you really can't lose time when you're paying such expensive bills. And on top of that, his truck broke down 3 times, because this is not something that's guaranteed. Trucks break down all the time. You lose that time, now you don't even get to live in that house, because now you lost that time and you need to make that time back. And usually when you are losing so much time, you lost a lot more than that, because it's like you're losing part of your life, you're losing your health, you're worrying, you're stressing how you're gonna, you know, make your payments, doing everything. But I'd say like this, guys, the reason I'm saying this type of thing, you know, like, please, you know, please, like, think about this type of stuff before you make some really hasty, expensive decisions, because I'm talking about like really expensive decisions, because it's always kind of like somebody's dangling this carrot in front of us, and they're like, yeah, I'll get this is awesome, you're gonna end up living large. But really, in reality, only poor people get those type of houses. This is why you see like most of these expensive homes, they have expensive cars in the driveway, because now you got to have the expensive cars to match, and you got additional payments, and you got to have the expensive furniture to match, because God forbid somebody comes to your house and they're telling you like that your furniture belongs like in a 2,500 square foot house instead of 3,700 square foot house, and you need better, expensive furniture, because that's expensive lifestyle, very hard to afford, and you're just not going to be able to even live there and enjoy it. So get a house that you can live in, get a house that you can enjoy. This is why I have a 900 square foot home. It's completely paid for. I could always build an addition. I find myself having lots of time because I paid cash for it, and I'm still trying to make money, but I'm trying to make sure that I am only working the type of jobs that I want to work. I don't want to do some jobs that like I'm not gonna be happy with, because I'm not like heavily in debt. Like, I don't have any mortgage, I don't have any car payments. But sometimes my mind is like, hey, why don't you just get this car payment over here? You know, it's gonna make you feel good. You could afford it. You don't have any other payments. But I'm like, no, why? But like, why would I? I could just wait, right? And there's a lot of satisfaction in waiting and just get something that I do want. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.